Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So, it's time to do our September wrap up. This is where we go over our top 5 books for the month of September in order from 5 to 1. So, was this hard for you?
Yes.
Yeah, I know it is.
I hate it.
I know.
Why
Before
we
we start talking about
videos?
that, yeah. So sorry. Before we start talking about that, though, let's give them the things that they need to know, and then we'll chat.
Well, hit that subscribe button. We're giving away free books over here all the time. Right now, you want to go check out our TBR book video for more specifics on that. But just hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
And yeah. Make sure you leave us a comment. Let us know what was your top read of the month. And do you have any trope videos that you would like to see us do? So we're getting ready to kind of plan out the rest of the year. We have some rough ideas, but we want to make sure we're bringing videos that you guys want to see too. So if you have ideas for us, put those in the comments below. And then keep an eye on our community tab here and over on Instagram. And we'll take these ideas and create like a poll. And from the top results, we will make some videos.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, so what were your stats for September?
My stats for September, I had 10 5-stars.
Ooh.
Yeah, see? And I read 26 books.
Okay, I read 32 books and I had 8 5-stars in September. So yeah. Fun times.
So go watch our 1-minute bookrecs for September. You will find 18 5-star books.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so let's get this started with book number 5.
All right.
Ready, Freddie?
All right, book number ready, but yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Book number 5 for me was this is Seminole by C.M. Stunich. This is book 2 in her For the Love of Aliens series. This is a trilogy, or as it's a trilogy, there's 3. This is a Why Choose alien abduction story. There is a lot of plot in the story. I really am loving it so far. I'm waiting for book 3. So the audio for the first 2 books are out. And this is book 2. So this is about Eve. She was abducted with her best friend from Earth from a party and taken to a planet where she wakes up and there's a sign that says humans, food slaves or mates, I think is what it said. And she ends up getting taken by a guy. And then there's this moth guy who is like this big prince, and he is somewhat like a vampire because he drinks her blood, and they're fated mates. And so this actually explores that relationship a little bit more. The first one explored the little dragon guy, and he's not little. And then the third book explores the other guy out of the 3, but they're all intertwined and they all go together. So I really loved this. This was great. So I'm ready for book 3. Okay. All right. What's book 5 for you? What?
So I'm like, should I pick a different one?
No, because it's your book number 5.
I hate this. I know, but it was tied with like 4 other books, but you said I couldn't have 8.
No, you can't have 8. 5.
So book number 5, even though Jessica refuses to let me tie it with, like, I have 4 books that should have been number 5. But anyway, the winner for number 5 is Wedding the Wide Receiver by Lisa Suzanne.
Okay.
So in this, we have Spencer, who is engaged to Grace's sister. And Spencer and Grace are friends. And Grace and her sister don't really get along. Her sister is just a beep, like, just not, she's just awful. And I'm actually a little concerned that maybe Lisa Suzanne and her sister, if she has one, don't get along, because this is not the first time I've read a Lisa Suzanne book where the girl and her sister don't get along and the sister's just a beep. Anyway, that's a side note. So, Spencer and Grace. Spencer realizes the sister's not not a good idea, and he breaks up with her, but she does not want him to break up with her, so it's not really going so well there. And he ends up taking off to Vegas for I can't remember, it was like a friend or a sibling, somebody's bachelor party. And so he's down there for that. Well, while he's gone, Grace learns that whoever gets married first and stays married for a year will inherit the vineyard. Now, Grace has devoted her life to this vineyard. She loves it. The sister doesn't really do much with it, but she's like, my sister is not going to get this. And so she flies to Vegas on a whim to talk to Spencer. Her and Spencer both get drunk. They both have an allergic reaction to something and take Benadryl. So they are drunk and on Benadryl, and they decide that it would be a great idea to get married because he could get his revenge on the sister and she could get the vineyard, right? So he's there for a wedding. He has a tux and the wedding dress in his room. So they go ahead and put on these other people's wedding clothes and go get married at a chapel with Elvis, who does all of the wedding stuff in Elvis song titles. It was so funny. Anyway, so now they're married and they have to try and figure their stuff out at this point. But Grace has always kind of had a little bit of a thing for Spencer, and Spencer's thinking maybe there's more to this situation with Grace. Maybe he had the wrong sister. Yeah. Love this one.
Okay.
Obviously.
Obviously, it's number 5, right?
It's all good. Yeah. And my top books of the month.
Okay. All right. So the book that landed in the number 4 slot for me was a duet, but they're novellas. So I count them as one because both of the novellas got a 5-star from me. So you have to read them together because it's the continuation of the story. And so that is The Hollow Duet by D.D. Prince. This is a Sleepy Hollow reimagining. So they actually live in Drowsy Hollow, not Sleepy Hollow. But this is a Headless Horseman retelling. So this is about Isabella. She is the great-great-great-granddaughter of Ichabod Crane. Yes, because it's Isabella Crane. Sorry, my brain just short-circuited. She's the granddaughter of Ichabod Crane. It is a modern-day retelling. And so she is a substitute teacher for the little school that is in Drowsy Hollow. And it is Halloween night. And she's had, her day in the classroom. And she's read them the story of the Headless Horseman because that's what you do in this town. All the kids love the story. What we find out at the beginning of the book is that there is a coven of witches who have put some spells on the town to keep the Headless Horseman from hurting people. Like it keeps them in a time loop, basically. And she, the last of the witches for the last 200 years has just passed away. And so they need someone to come in and continue that every year. And the person who's supposed to do that is this old witch's granddaughter. And she can't make it in time. And so the Headless Horseman is on the loose. So on the way home from school, Isabel's car breaks down, brand new car, and she goes for a little walk down a dirt road and encounters the Headless Horseman. This is really, really dark. There's a lot of things that happen, especially in the second book, that are both books, honestly, that are a little like, wow, but I was here for it. I loved it. So obviously it hit number 4. So
okay.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 book. Ugh, I hate this because I'm like, oh, is this really number 4? Maybe it should have been number 2. Anyway, I just have to go with what I have written down.
Mm-hmm.
Every month, this is what happens to me.
Every month.
And then just wait until we are having to do our wrap up for the year.
I'm gonna turn my phone off.
Wow.
Because oh my gosh, you're gonna be, for like the month before we do that, it is gonna be rough around here.
Well, I'm glad you have a strategy. Okay, number 4.
Okay.
I won't really vacations for a new bestie.
I'll be here. I'll be here for you.
Will you?
I don't know. We'll see.
Anyway, number 4, Undeniably Infatuated by J. Shaman.
Mm-hmm.
And this is about Tinsley and Stone. So Stone is a doctor, and he's part of the billionaire family. and up in Boston, and he has just been skating by on his name, and something happens that kind of gives him this wake up call. And so he goes to where his yacht is down in Florida and is going to go sailing for like 10 days and just try and get his head on straight and his priorities together and all that stuff. And when he gets to his boat, he is attacked by a woman and like thrown overboard because she hits him with something. And he's like, "What is happening? You're on my boat." And he realizes that it's Tinsley, who is his brother Forrest's ex-girlfriend. Now, Tinsley and Forrest were together for a very long time, and Forrest has not gotten over their breakup. And Tinsley is a Hollywood star. And so she is on this yacht just trying to hide out from the paparazzi. And she assumed that nobody would even know she was here, that Stone wouldn't show up because he's, Boston billionaire doctor. Why would he be down on his yacht? So anyway, he's there. And so he tells her, like, "I'm going sailing. You need to get off the boat." And she's like, "Please, please take me with you." So he reluctantly agrees. And while they're gone for these 10 days, they spend a lot of time together. And he kind of falls for her. And they, you know what they're going to do on the yacht for 10 days, right? Well, they get back and they go their separate ways. And Stone just cannot get over her. And we fast forward a couple years later, and he is still hung up on her. And Forrest is still not over his breakup with her. And Tinsley ends up in trouble and is kind of thrown into a situation with Stone. And so Stone like steps up to help her. And that kind of starts to develop their relationship some more. Yeah. So
Okay.
good. Because you have that forbidden love. Like, this is his brother. Him and his brother have a really good relationship. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
really, truly forbidden. Like, he can't just screw his brother over like that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
loved it.
Good. Okay. Book number 3 for me for the month is one that you liked too, and I'm pretty sure this was on your top 5 when you read it, and that's Silent Lies by Neva Altai. Yeah, so good. The audio came out this past month or in September, and I listened to it. It was great. So this is about Sienna and Drago. Sienna is a part of the New York Mafia. I believe they're Italian, and she is really good at learning languages. So she's in her early 20s. She hasn't been married yet. Her capo comes to her and says, "I want you to learn Siberian or whatever they speak there. I want you to learn this language, and you're going to get married to the head of the Siberian mafia. And I need you to spy for me." And there's a lot of glare here. Trying to figure that one out. So that is what she does. She learns it within 2 months, and then she is given in marriage to the head of the Serbian, not Siberian. Holy cow, Serbian. That makes so much more sense in my head now. But she is given in marriage to Drago, and she learns really early on that she really doesn't want to spy for him. Like, she likes him a lot, and she wants this to be a real marriage. And so she does silly things, like when her capo calls and he wants to know like what's going on. What information does she have for him? She gives him like the most mundane, silliest things, and he's like, "This is it. This is all you have," which is actually kind of funny that these are the things that she gives him. But I really loved this one. I don't think I've read a Neva Altai book that I haven't loved, and I don't think I've read one that hasn't. Hi, Mandy. That hasn't shown up in my top 5 every time I read it for whatever month that is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do.
Beautiful Beast came out, which is the spinoff series, like the Next Generation, in July. I actually physically own the book, and I just haven't read it because I love Neva Altai so much, and I just like knowing that if I get in a horrid book slump, I can pull that book out. When I finished the Imperfectly Imperfect series to where it was at, I was like, "Ooh,
now what I do?" Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Did you see? I'm looking at my notebook because I want to make sure I say the right date. Just a second.
Okay.
Did you see Sweet Prison comes out December 13th?
What's Sweet Prison?
It is the next book, Imperfectly Imperfect.
Oh, I did see that, but it doesn't have the same feel for the title as the other ones. So that's why I was like, what is that? I did. I have it on. Is it pre-orderable? Did I pre-order it this week? I know I was looking at them.
I didn't pre-order it because you can only pre-order the Kindle version, and I want the paperback. to go with my set.
Mm-hmm.
But I am so excited like that. I'm always excited about her new books, but when I read that last book, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for this next one." And so I I was kind of bummed when Beautiful Beast came out because I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
finish the other series first."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm so excited. And
Yeah.
it's on a Friday, which I really, really appreciate for those of us who work,
Mm-hmm.
because that is when I will be grabbing on the day it comes out and binging it
Yeah.
that weekend.
I could put the physical copy on my Christmas list.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So
All
what
I want for Christmas.
books? I don't know that he'll buy them though because I'm starting to bust at the seams with books. So
Well, I
I know.
already have a plan for mine.
I know you do. I know you do. Okay. What was book number 3 for you?
Well, book number 3 for me was All Too Well by Corinne Michaels.
Okay.
Jessica.
All right. Well, tell us about it.
Okay, so this is Ainsley and Lachlan, and this is number 1 in Corinne's new series, Ember Falls. So we have small town, single dad, firefighter. Like, what is there not to love about this, right? So this is brother's best friend, but it's not so much like brother's best friend and it's like forbidden. It's kind of like maybe we don't want to tell him yet type situation, which that I like too. I don't like it when it's like, oh, we can't talk to each other because you're my brother's best friend. I don't like that vibe. So anyways, they've known each other since they were kids. They were both raised in the military, but does that make, I think I made sense, right? Saying that. So 4 years ago, she comes back to town for his mom's funeral and they share a kiss, but he immediately he's drunk and he's like, I'm so sorry, that was a mistake. And so she flees because like he just said it was a mistake, and maybe she misunderstood what he was trying to get at, but she just flees. She can't face him anymore after that. Well, she is a journalist in New York and she needs to be writing this article about him because he was supposed to go pro and he didn't. And so this is like what happened, to former college athletes type thing. So she goes back to the town to do the interview with him. And this is when they start to, develop some feelings maybe for each other. And she's learning like all about what he's doing now. He has a little girl that she just adores. And then there's forced proximity happening here. I just loved this one so much. And Corinne Michaels actually had a post where she talked about big disc energy. And I'm like, oh, that sums it up so well. Because him and his friends, also other athletes, are playing ultimate frisbee. And it is so funny. And the lines in there where he's trying to be impressive, but like the frisbee thing is just not working. Like they're just struggling in practice. Are you shushing me? And oh, so there is like some good comedy in here. I love that when the comedy, like it doesn't feel rom-commy, it's just like natural in the story. So, oh, it was so good. Loved it.
Awesome. Okay. I was shushing the husband who was talking to the dog when he walked in. So, okay. Book number 2. It's really hard choosing between 2 and 1. I just need to get that out there, but I did it. I really did it. So book number 2 for me, I know you guys are going to be like, wait a minute, that was on your October TBR. Yeah, well, I got the arc and I read it before October 1st. So it's in my top books for September, or it was on my, October TBR for sure. Okay. So that is Brutal Husband by Lilith Vincent. This is this is the 3rd book in her Brutal Hearts series. You can read them as standalones, but this one is the sister, our heroine. I can't talk today. Rita is the older sister to Mia, who is in the first book in the series. So anyhow, so Rita is given in marriage to Nero. It is an arranged marriage for the family. So this is mafia adjacent. We do see a lot of mafia, not a lot of mafia, but we do see mafia ties in this one. And because it's a marriage for the family to benefit the family, when she goes on her first date with him, and he's a cold guy. He's known as being a very cold and aloof figure. And he starts off cold, but then he warms up to her. And whenever they have an interaction, it's either he is extremely cold to her and doesn't talk to her and is just rude the whole time, or he's happy to be around her and he is like on the complete opposite side. Now that's typically when they're alone, and that's how it was is explained, like there's not other people around, but for some reason he either blows hot or he blows cold. And they get married, and for the first year of their marriage it is cold and she hates it, and she's like, where did my fiance go? And then he goes missing for 6 months and she doesn't know what happened, and then he comes back and he's a completely different person. And there's just a lot of mysteries, and I know I'm not doing the book justice at all, but it says, I think my husband's going to kill me. And that, like, there's just so much to this story. It goes back and forth. I loved it so much. It's just really hard to explain. Just know that out of the 3 in this series, this is my favorite. Like, I loved this one so much. So much. It was so good. There's all the good tropes. There's the stalking, there's the breeding, there's the over-the-top jealous. It is so, so good. Just go read it. You'll thank me later.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get on that whole series. It's been sitting on my shelf for way too long. I saw this thing that there's a big difference between reading books and buying books. That they are two separate hobbies.
They are.
And I participate equally in both of them, I think.
It's a problem.
It is. I'm out of room. I have books stacked and I'm like, same. I need this TV out of here. I need more room for my books.
Yep. Same.
All right. Number 2 for me is Falling Like Stars by Emma Scott. Oh, darn glare there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have Rowan and Zachary. This book starts off like, have your tissues handy. The first few pages are heartbreaking, like heartbreaking. And so Rowan she's just kind of sealed herself off and is basically just living her life, even though she's in her 20s. Like, there's a point where she's like, I probably still have 40 years left. Like, she's just going through the motions and doesn't believe that good things or love should be a part of her life. So she works as a PA. Even though she's extremely talented in other areas, she just has the PA job and that's all she does. And she ends up working on a movie set that Zachary is on. Now, Zachary is like the hottest Hollywood star, and he has this on-again, off-again fiance, Ava, and they are off again, and Zachary knows that this is final. Ava doesn't really understand that, and of course, the celebrity gossip just believes it's just another one of their off-again times. Well, Rowan and Zachary end up kind of spending some time together and realizing that they're both kind of just lost souls a little bit. Zachary is dealing with like this ex Ava, and she just cannot let things go. And then there's also some stuff that's happened in this relationship that's really kind of weighed on him as well. I've never really seen this dealt with in any other books that I've read, so I appreciated that Emma Scott tackled it. I don't want to give anything away, just read the book. It's so good. I appreciated that she tackled that and dealt with it in the way that she did. And Rowan is just still stuck in her grief. So we have two our hero and our heroine are just really they're just broken, and together they're gonna hopefully heal. Loved it so much. Emma Scott knocked it out of the park again, but I love everything Emma Scott writes.
I know. We spent a lot of time at her booth.
I love her. I went back to her booth and bought more books.
She did.
I did.
It's that whole book buying, book reading thing.
Mm-hmm. I will read those though.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm just really impressed at how many books you've already gotten that we bought.
Well, thanks.
I still have books on my shelf from when we went to Love in Seattle a year and a half ago that I haven't read.
I have a couple, but not really. I like to go through my shelves and see what haven't I read and make them priorities typically. Not always, but typically.
I bought a whole series while we were there by an author I'd never read before just because the covers were pretty.
Yeah, I know. It's a thing. It's okay. I totally get it. 100%. Okay. So Are you ready for book number 1 for me?
Yeah, I am curious. I have an idea of what your book number 1 is going to be, and I don't.
Well, this one I read like on the first day of September, so I was like, oh, is that this month? I had to question that one, but
mine is from the very beginning of the month too.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is The Devil Himself by B.B. Easton. This is book 2 in the in her Devil of Dublin duet. So this one you have to read The Devil of Dublin first before you can read this one. Like you have to. You cannot. It's a continuation of the story, so you have to. So this is about Clover and Damien. Clover is our little Irish girl, and she's not little. She's an adult. She's out of school, but she lives on an island in Ireland, and there is an attack from the Bratva. The Russian Bratva comes and attacks Ireland and tries. So Russia's basically taking over Ireland in this book, and her town is bombed. And when that happens, she finds a soldier on the beach, and they hunker down together in the same cave basically while all this is happening. Like her town is destroyed. Definitely check triggers. This is dark and it's mafia, and there's a lot of things that happen in this that could it's hard to read. And so this is there. So she takes him, she's debates whether or not she wants to help him because he's the enemy. So do you help him? He's injured. And there's other things that are happening in this book. They end up going on a little bit of a road trip, not in a good way, but a little bit of a road trip. But I really can't talk a lot about this book without giving things away. You have to read book number 1. This book, I will tell you that she tore my heart out in the beginning of the book, like tore my heart out, and then stuffed that empty cavity full of 4-leaf clovers. I don't know what she stuffed it full of, but this again has a lot of that same Irish folklore, and I just, oh my gosh, it was good. It was so good. So that was number 1 for me.
Okay. Do you know what my number 1 is?
Do I? Oh, yeah, I do.
You should.
Pam's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me get my forklift.
Okay, I know, picking up all them books.
So I read Pam Godwin's new trilogy.
Yep.
Hills of Shivers and Shadows.
It's her Frozen Fate trilogy.
Yes, this is the first book. Yes. Frozen Fate is this trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You ready?
So I'm ready.
All right.
I need like an arm prop here.
I know.
Okay, so I'd just like to point out that this is one of the reasons. Like, look at how big this is. This is like 6 books here.
Easily.
Okay, so I do have the last book up on top and the first book is down on the bottom. I'm going to set these aside because this is really awkward to hold that many books.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've heard a lot about this on the channel, and there's a reason. It is really good. So I'll be brief. We have Frankie. She's married to like the wealthiest man in Alaska, but she still insists on working. I don't know why she does, because I have plenty to keep me occupied.
Plenty of books.
Well, her and her husband get into an argument over, I probably don't want to say what. They get in an argument. It's pretty brutal. He storms off. And when he comes back, she's gone. He assumes that he's really messed up and she just took off because she was mad about this fight. She was actually abducted and she was taken to what we assume is the Arctic Circle. It is like barren Arctic land up there. No one is around. But when she gets there, the guy who abducted her has 3 sons. They're grown sons that live there. So this is that story. It is a wild ride. Nothing that you think you probably actually know. Crazy things are going to happen. And it's so, even though it is insanely long, it is extremely captivating. And I read all 3 in a week while working.
Yes.
Not while I was at work. I was maintaining a normal job, normal hours, and then reading in the evening. But I'm just trying to say, like, you see how thick those books are. Like, I could not stop reading them. Really good. Sometimes I think when you see big books like that, it can be intimidating, and you think like, oh, that's going to be boring and repetitive. Did not feel that way at all, and I literally binged them. So Absolutely loved it. There's a reason you hear about it a lot on our channel. If you've not read it, I highly encourage you to check them out.
Yes. And the audio for the first book is out. Book 2 will be out in October, and the book 3, October, November. They're like November and December, or October and December, but they're coming. Yeah. So if you're intimidated by the size, the audio is coming. So, okay. All right. So that was it. Those were our top 10 books of September.
I snuck in 3. Did you see how that worked?
I did. And that's understandable.
Well, I feel like it is because it's the trilogy.
It's the trilogy. It makes sense. It works. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification button. Don't forget to leave us some comments so we can chat below with you guys. We love doing that. And make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.